Welcome back to Questing Beast. I am Ben. Well, it's another day, another meltdown on Twitter, this time because Elon Musk has hinted that he might want to buy Hasbro. And of course, this has led to furious commentary on all sides. Is this going to mean the destruction of D&D as we know it? Will it herald in a new golden age? My answer, of course, is neither. Elon Musk is not able to save Dungeons & Dragons. He's not able to ruin it either, or really anyone else who owns the IP. And this has nothing to do with Elon Musk in particular, it has to do with the nature of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I've ranted about this in the past, but maybe it's time for a refresher. I don't think that Dungeons & Dragons is a game. Instead, I think it is thousands of games, all of which are slightly different and played at thousands of tables all over the world. The vast majority of people who play Dungeons & Dragons use the rules in the books that they happen to have as guidelines, which they tweak as they see fit. They don't really care who owns the IP. They don't care who publishes the books. They don't care about the current controversy of the day. And that's a good thing. At its core, Dungeons & Dragons is a folk tradition, one that is passed down from dungeon masters to players over and over the course of the last half century. Most people do not learn to play the game from reading the books. Many players barely read them at all. And it's this very fact that has made Dungeons & Dragons so notoriously difficult for corporations to monetize. Once you buy a couple of the books, you're pretty much set for the rest of your life. And once you start tweaking them and writing your own rules, you don't even really need the books at all. The goal of Wizards of the Coast, and anyone else who has owned the IP in the past, has been to convince you that you need them. You need their official rules, you need their official spell books and monster manuals, you need their official, very linear and railroady adventures if you are to play the game. But that's not true in the past, and it's not true now. The rules of D&D do not work like those in a video game. In a video game, if you want an experience to be fixed, you have to wait for the developer to release patches or expansions or things like that. You're really locked into the way that the creator intended the game to be played. And I think people have developed this video game mindset about RPGs to the point where they think that D&D works like that, when I don't think it does at all. Role-playing games are very much a player-created experience. Every time you play D&D at the table, the game master and the players interacting with each other create a game that the rules might help facilitate in some ways, but is mostly generated by the people rather than the developer. The people online who are arguing over who should get the IP rights to D&D are buying into Wizards of the Coast's framing. Their framing is that what D&D is the rules that they publish for it. And they're going to use that framing in order to get people to sign up for D&D Beyond or any of the other digital projects that they are rolling out. They want a centralized server that you log into, that you pay into, and that gives you the D&D experience. If you buy into this perspective, then sure, it matters who owns the D&D IP, whether that's Elon or Wizards of the Coast or whoever. But if you don't buy into this viewpoint, then it doesn't matter at all. Neither Elon or WotC could ruin or save D&D any more than a yarn manufacturer could ruin knitting. So much of the online arguments surrounding these topics come down to, I think, the fear that someone somewhere is playing D&D wrong. Or worse, someone with the wrong worldview is playing D&D. The idea of a monolithic entity that controls what the game is very comforting in some ways, because it implies that if you just got the right person in control of the game, then you could stop all of the bad gameplay, you could stop the bad ideas, you could stop the bad people from playing D&D. But of course, all of that is an illusion. You know, there actually is maybe one thing that someone who is in control of all of the D&D IP could do that I think would be good for the hobby. You know, they're never going to do it, but it would be nice. And that would be to take everything in D&D, all of the books, all of the trademarks, all of the art, and release it into the public domain. To slap a Creative Commons 0 license on that thing and give it back to the gaming culture that spawned it. 1,000 different old school retro clones are not enough for me. I want 1,000 retro clones of 5e and 4e and everything else. And I want all of them to be called Dungeons & Dragons. That would be my first and only decree if I became the God Emperor of the game. It is kind of nice that Wizards of the Coast released the basic D&D rules into Creative Commons, which is frankly better than the OGL in my opinion. And Elon Musk has even done things in the past like allow competitors to use Tesla patents in order to spread the use of electric cars. But I mean, killing the golden goose, taking the whole D&D IP and just giving it away, that's never going to happen. As always, my advice to you is if you want D&D to be better, then make it better. Don't put your hopes in a billionaire or a corporation to save Dungeons & Dragons for you. Instead, talk to your players, figure out what they would want in a kick-ass campaign, and then make that. If you think that the rules and adventures that you're creating are really good, then put them on your blog. Put them on DriveThruRPG. Share your work and actually try to improve the gaming experience of people that you know. Don't worry about what some corporation out there is doing who can't actually affect your life. If D&D is going to be saved, it's going to be saved by you at home playing games with your friends. All right, that's all I have to say on that subject. If you want to hear more of my ramblings, you can, of course, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to help support the channel, you can do so over on Patreon or by buying some of my books and some of my adventures. Links down below. If you want to keep up with RPG news that I think is actually worthwhile, you can subscribe to my free monthly newsletter. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.